From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of Evenings Lalate with incredible great news tonight on prime recording about your big money Wall Street saw this week erode. Stocks going down, bonds going up, and the latest developing details about oil and wheat not any better across the board. In tonight's primetime broadcast, we go also over your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Big checks have landed in every U.S. state. I'm going to show you how to get that incredible sums of money. And new money is being proposed on top of that. New checks, big checks, $80,000 of checks, direct deposit, direct express. I have all the incredible details over this broadcast. Stay to the very end. But we're going to go over the incredible developing details about what's going on with stocks eroding, crypto falling apart, bonds surging, and the housing auto sinking dramatically across the board. What does this mean for you over this broadcast? We'll analyze why interest rates are going higher, stagflation's coming across the board, recessionary concerns continue to grow and left and right, and what's at issue is you need to get that money. You need to grab the money right now because the situation is getting extenuous across the board. The situation now welcomed Mitch McConnell overseas in Ukraine, a bipartisan negotiated agreement to go to Ukraine and meet with Zelensky. And next up could be bipartisan support for the Build Back Better Act. I have all the incredible details in tonight's broadcast for prime time. Then we turn to the SS300, then to student loan debt forgiveness. Next off to state stimulus checks, and then off to the big money available today. Lots of it. Over the last 2 years, this channel has gotten people $85 million of money, and we continue to get more money across the board. Step 1, become a member. Step 2, get that incredible newsletter. And step 3, grab a fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. Yes, you have found the channel, the #1 in the United States for financial news, the #1 to give you the predictions of where this economy is going, and the #1 to get you that fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. No place to look anywhere else, no place to run anywhere else, except if you look really good running at the beach, then maybe you should run. All those incredible details heat up right now. Get that surfboard ready because we're surfing into evenings, starting right now. And good evening. It's a beautiful night for May 14th, 2022. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, you found it. You found LA, the #1 most watched financial news channel in prime time in American broadcasting today. Why? Because I go over the predictions of where this economy is going. I give you the guidance. I give you the analysis. I also give you the money. In this recording, I'm going to show you how to get a check. Lots of them. 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state, and we ain't talking about a couple $100. Oh, no, we are not. We are talking about a check for you. If you got a first stimulus check, a second or third, this is you. Congratulations for finding the channel. You ain't going to see this anywhere in broadcast media, print media, the front porch of your neighbor's house. You're not going to see this coverage anywhere else. It takes hours of broadcast depth, research going into every broadcast, and the details start right now on Evenings Lalate in prime time. Stocks erode, bonds down, up, and crypto falling apart. Why? Because the financial future of this U.S. economy is bleak tonight. Where are we going into another week of the month of May 2022? We have higher interest rates. We have continuing looming recession. And we do not have pulled back inflation. We learned that this week as well. The Consumer Price Index, the PPI, the unemployment numbers, the statements from Jay Powell, the housing data, and the surges of new COVID cases, all being covered starting right now. In America tonight, the situation of this economy is getting worse by the hour. That is why when I give you checks on the table, you grab them. You don't even think. Tonight, the Brent crude prices are surging dramatically, 382 up to 111. Higher expected from me my prediction, in the next 2 weeks. As China is expected to come off of lockdown in the next 2 weeks, that will increase demand for oil because they'll be driving their cars. And that will bring the price of gasoline you're paying at the pump even higher. You're averaging about $4.24 at the pump right now, and guess what's going to happen thereafter? You're likely to see $4.30, $4.40, and the international price of Brent crude growing to $1.20. Ouch. That is why you need lots of stimulus. The great news is that a forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Viewers of this channel have gotten it. Have you gotten it? Have you gotten your applications in on file? How much money have you gotten? $5,000, $10,000, $50,000? You should be averaging about $45,000. And if you haven't, step 1 tonight is to become a member. Step 2 is to get that newsletter. And step 3 is to pounce on that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Now, when we look at this U.S. economy, Bitcoin up 3% on Friday to 29,000, and then Ethereum up about 3% to 2,000, essentially, and up 30% to $1. But crypto is falling apart. Stocks are falling apart. Bonds are surging. Why? Because everyone knows Jay Powell has it wrong. It took a little while for Wall Street and analysts and people on mom and pop in mainstream America to realize who Jay Powell is, the head of the Federal Reserve. But the more that he came out and talked about what he's doing, and the more that he did something and didn't work, people started to catch on. Wait a second, is that guy from last week who said he was going to do something, he was going to fix it? It still hasn't fixed it. And in fact, he's making the situation worse. Yes, introducing your Temple of Doom 2022. His name is Jay Powell. He's head of the Federal Reserve. He was a Trump appointee, but reappointed by Joe Biden, and this guy has gotten it very wrong. He got it wrong last year when he said that inflation was going to be temporary in December. And he used a fancy word at the time, as though you would not follow the fancy word. He used the word transitory. It was not transitory inflation. What happened to that inflation rate? It stayed very high. In fact, he got it very wrong. At the time, I predicted that inflation was going to be 8% in December 2021. That was my prediction. And I predicted that the inflation rate would not be temporary. Guess what? Jay Powell had it wrong. I had it right. Inflation came in at 8% in December and was not temporary. Tonight, inflation is likely 8% again. So what has Jay Powell done since the month of December when getting it wrong? He first came in at a quarter basis point to raise interest rates. Didn't work. Then he did a half basis point 1.5 weeks ago at the FOMC meeting of the month of May. Didn't work. What did it give you? A bear market. And what did he say on Friday? He says we're going to do more half basis point raises in June and July. And we're going to get inflation down to 2% later this year. You know, this is a primetime show for financial news, but sometimes it's turning into a sitcom. Because that is a joke, what Jay Powell just said. He is knocking down inflation to 2% later this year. He ain't going to get it down to even 4%. My projection is Jay Powell is going to struggle to get it down to 4%. This is me, folks. No one understands it more than you and I. Jay Powell has been saying he's going to get inflation down since January. Since January, it's 8%. It's still 8%. And it's going to stay 8% because he does not have the tools in his toolbox. He's not on home improvement, and that would be a better, funnier story than the one he's telling tonight. What's going on is that we have the consumer price index number, the CPI, and the employment numbers, and also Jay Powell, all in the last 3 days. And boy, is the data bad. Before we go into the data, let me tell you why bad data is good data for you. Bad data means that more people are going to give you stimulus in Congress, and it also means that it helps SS300. Why is bad data good data for stimulus? Because if the economy is not doing well, people want to give you assistance. The latest details from the Democrats is they understand they got to get Build Back Better done or they're out. They're gone at the midterm elections. And they got to get it done by the month about August. They got to negotiate the terms by the month of May. Why? Because you vote by mail 3 months ahead of time. Not in November. You vote no less than 90 days earlier. That means I got to get the check to you about 120 days before November. Yeah, that brings it up to the present. The negotiations are underway between Joe Biden and Kyrsten Sinema and the White House. But Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin have been at arms with one another in recent days. Why? Because Joe Manchin, wants to raise the corporate tax rate to pay for Build Back Better Act. Well, you have to do something to pay for it, don't you? And Kristen Sinema says, if you touch corporate rates, I'm going to vote against Build Back Better Act. Ouch. What has the president done with this? We really don't know what he's done with the negotiations of that element, but someone has to move somewhere. And that is why it's being teed up right away. Midterm elections, yes. May, yes. Memorial Day weekend, oh boy. They want this vote by then. Let's be clear. This is Congress. This is Congress sending you a check. The president has already sent checks. Every state has a forced stimulus check. And we ain't talking about a couple $100. And it's not a check that you just stand by the mailbox and look in and say, hi, Mr. Mailbox. How are you? I don't see anything in there. You go to the bank account, look to a direct deposit. I don't see anything in there. It will never be in there because these are checks. You got to do something other than a pear dance. And what do? Don't worry. I got to show you what you're going to do later in this recording. The great news is that you have fingers. The great news is you have a voice. The great news is you can push, pick up the phone and call. And that's all you got to do to clean up with a lot of money from a forced stimulus check that has landed from the president and your states. Yes, a forced stimulus check that has landed in every U.S. state is the result of the president, not Congress. The result of the states, not Congress. But if Congress passes Build Back Better Act, you get other checks on top of that. Let's go over the economic data that supports those other checks tonight. The PPI number, the Producer Price Index number released this Thursday. Bad. This is a number that gauges how much products are paid for manufacturers. The price when comparing the month before was higher, half basis point. Year before, 11% up. And compared to the month of March, higher. Food, energy, and trade services, when excluded, which is called the core PPI, rose the month of April. Why is that important? Because if we remove energy, like gasoline, is the price of the PPI still up? It is up. Inflation, there you go. Number one. Number two, the CPI number released the day before, Consumer Price Index number, gives you guidance about what's going on with the products you buy in the marketplace. What do we learn? About the same as the month of March. These are April numbers. Ouch. Jay Powell, you watching? I think he's running for the door now. He's running for the door. Because remember, he said he's going to get down inflation. He has not gone down inflation. PPI shows he did not work it out. CPI shows he did not work it out again. And what about unemployment? In a second, you have a quote from Jay Powell on Friday, who says our goal is to get price stability. That means cheaper prices, bringing down inflation, while not hurting unemployment. Let's say that again slower, because wait till I show you this data. He says his goal is to raise interest rates to give lower prices, price stability, another way to say it, lowering inflation without hurting unemployment. What do you have tonight? Jay Powell has raised interest rates, has not reduced inflation, has not gotten price stability, and has hurt employment. Ooh, that just stings, doesn't it? It's just like you said, you're not going to do any of these things, and you hit everything. It's like you go to the bat and you swing with a bat and you swing out 3 times. Strike out, Jay Powell. A separate economic report released Thursday showed that the number of unemployment claims, new unemployment claims for the week before, was topping 203,000. These are people who newly went on unemployment this week. This is not a good number. This is the number we saw in early March, the week before we went into the pandemic in 2020. This number should be around 180,000. This is not a good number for May 2022. And this was higher than Wall Street estimated, looking at 194. Even that was on the high end. The net result is that Jay Powell is hurting unemployment, is hurting interest rates. Tonight, if you go to pay for that student loan debt or you pay for that credit card debt, that flexible mortgage rate, you feel the pinch because the bond rates went up this week. The bond rates went up and the mortgage rates went up. With it, housing starts went down again. Housing starts down 4 consecutive months. Auto sales dramatically down. They're in recession, in my opinion, across the board. With all that gloom and doom, then what did Jay Powell say? He delivered Comedy Hour. Jay Powell, in his own sitcom, called the Federal Reserve. Can't do it. And here we go. Everyone loves Chris. No, everyone hates Jay. That's the name of this sitcom. Federal Reserve Jay Powell warned on Thursday that he needs to get price stability at issue? Well, obviously. But can he do it? Let's read the quote and let's go over what he said and what he didn't say. This was Thursday, a week after he had done that half basis point increase at the May FOMC meeting last week. So a soft landing is really getting back to 2% inflation by the end of the year while keeping a strong labor market. Yeah. I love that opening joke in that sitcom. That's hysterical, Jay. Soft landing, no. Getting inflation down to 2% by the end of the year. Hysterical. We are currently in May, haven't gotten down inflation from 8% in December to 8% in May. How can you get it down to 2 by December? You haven't moved it a smidgen in 6 months. Sound ridiculous? It is ridiculous. What about not hurting unemployment? Well, unemployment's surging. And with Dr. Fauci saying that there's a subvariant of Omicron really causing surges of new COVID cases in some parts of the United States, get ready for surging unemployment numbers again. What else did Jay Powell say on Thursday? So it'll be challenging, none to say the least. No one here thinks it's going to be easy. Nonetheless, there are pathways for us to get there. What's going to be easy? Doing what you're doing? Your pathways are the road to nowhere, Jay. Our goal, of course, is to get inflation back to 2% without having the economy go into recession. You're going to go into recession. Or put it this way, with the labor market remaining fairly strong, it's not strong. And that's why we're trying to achieve. The one thing we cannot really do is fail to restore price stability. Nothing in this economy will work if no one gets price stability. Does it make sense? Of course not. Jay Powell has no tools as Federal Reserve Chair to get price stability when that price stability has nothing to do with the Federal Reserve. It's sort of obvious. The price instability he's referring to tonight is number one, caused by coming out of COVID. He has nothing for that. Vladimir Putin invading Ukraine. He has nothing for that. Or China putting its people on lockdown to battle subvariant of Omicron. He has nothing to battle that. And for him to say that he can get price stability for something that's happening in Ukraine or China is ridiculous, to say the least. What is the takeaway from this? He's not going to get it done. The other takeaway is maybe he's watching me. Because if you listen to the quote, he says, now we see the picture clearly and we're determined to use our tools to get back to price stability. How many times have I said he does not have the tools in the toolbox to get this done? And tonight he says he has tools to get that price stability. Believe it or not? That was another show, wasn't it? Well, guess what? Wall Street's not believing it. That is why Dow Jones, NASDAQ, FANG stocks, crypto, and all the bellwethers and also the high flyers are hurting dramatically. Tonight we're in a bear market, and that is what Wall Street understands. That's what middle America understands. A new CNN poll asks how many Americans approve of the president's performance in office. 70% disapprove. When asked what is the major issue, they said the economy. When asked who do you blame the current economy on, over 56% said Joseph Biden. Not particularly his fault what Jay Powell does, because what Jay Powell's doing is only Jay Powell's efforts. But Joe Biden hasn't done other things. What are the other things that Joe Biden could have done along this step of the way and needs to do them right away? Let's analyze them for the first time tonight on Evenings LA. What are the things that Joe Biden should have done step one to ease the situation? Still can, but it may be, a little bit late in the food chain. Step one. Should have gotten that JCPOA deal done. What is the JCPOA deal? That deal is to get the price of gasoline down by doing a deal with Iran that will remove the embargo of the Iranian products in exchange for flooding the world markets with Iranian oil. Had he gotten the world markets flooded with Iranian oil or another type of oil like Venezuela or OPEC plus countries, the price of gasoline would come down. He's done nothing for the price of gasoline. He released 1 million barrels a day over 6 months from the U.S. strategic reserves. Day one, I said it wasn't going to work. No one thought it was going to work. The day he announced it, the price of gasoline actually went up. Why? It's too much gasoline missing being replaced by this amount in exchange for that. 3 million barrels of gasoline are missing because of the embargo of Russia. And then OPEC has actually reduced its production, which brings the amount of shortage of gasoline higher. How much have we flooded back in? About 1 million and 1.5 million between us and the Western allies. Doesn't cut it. Now, you think gasoline is bad tonight? Get ready for about 2 weeks from now. Why? Because I can report to you that China's coming off of their lockdown. China has been on lockdown because of Omicron subvariant. That lockdown means they have to stay in their homes. That lockdown means they're not driving their cars. And that means that there's more gasoline available. Well, guess what? Off a lockdown, driving cars, more shortage, price going up. I'm predicting that the price of gasoline, Brent crude, will go up dramatically. Currently tonight about 111. I'm predicting going to 120. At the pump, 424. I'm predicting about 450 nationwide. Can you sustain that? Of course you cannot. I told you back in the month of March, unsustainable at these levels. I'm predicting it's going to even worse. Step 2, what could Joe Biden also do? Swap that cola for inflation. So simple. It's not partisan. It's not controversial. It doesn't need anyone's support. He does it himself. All he does is pick up the phone and call the Social Security Administrator head saying, this is Joseph Biden. Swap that COLA for inflation, and that would give millions of Americans, millions of the hardest hit, lowest income earners in the United States, more money. How much? $200 more per month. Right away. Right away. What's at issue? COLA. It's your current benchmark if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, or veterans benefits. Swapping COLA to inflation is so simple. Why is it so simple? Because he actually made it up. He actually invented it with Liz Warren. Well, she invented it. He adopted it. In JoeBiden.com, his presidential platform, swapping COLA for inflation would lock in a higher benchmark. Why? COLA doesn't move. Inflation moves. It's 8% right now. 8% equates to $200 more per month. Make that phone call to Social Security Administrator head, swap COLA for inflation. Your benefits go up $200 a month. Lifetime, not just this month, not just this year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. Imagine the hardest hit Americans who really feel the pressure of inflation and looming recession. People who are retirees and veterans would get an extra $200 a month. That is exactly what is needed right today. When I look at the landscape of things done and not done, this one has no excuse. Social Security has the money, go do it. Make the phone call. He's done it before. He made the phone call to Social Security, to the Department of Agriculture to increase your SNAP. He's made the phone call to the Department of Education to forgive student loan debt. All that Joe Biden has to do on this one is make another phone call, this time over to Social Security. Swap that COLA for inflation right tonight. Raise your benefits up $200 a month starting next month. And then what about December? If you don't believe the sitcom of Jay Powell, that he's getting inflation down to 2%, and you believe me, that's going to 4%. 4% would be another $100 on top of your existing benefits later this year. So by the end of this year, you would give me $300 more per month, not $200 more per month. So simple. Joe, make the phone call. This is why this is to be blamed on Joseph Biden. It's a very simple part of the equation. It's something he has said himself, and something he needs to do right today. Releasing more gasoline, getting more gasoline from those strategic allies like Iran or OPEC Plus or Venezuela, or figuring out where it comes from, then getting that SSI and SSDI swapped. What else needs to be done immediately? New hairstyle for Nancy? No. That can be taken care of at a later date. No, the next issue is the wheat and corn. American farmers have not been producing as much as they did in recent years, but now that we have a shortage of wheat and grain in the areas of Ukraine and Russia, called also the bread belt of that region, the price of bread is surging to its highest levels we've seen of a generation. Who in the White House has analyzed the situation on this front? No one. And that is why those consumer products continue to grow across the board. What's at issue is that the White House has not addressed any of those. Takeaway. Build Back Better Act would give you more checks, but there's quicker things that can be done right today, like the SS300, like the release of more gasoline or getting gasoline released by our allies, and also the solution for wheat and grain. With that, after Joe Biden gets that done, then we can go right into Build Back Better Act and get it passed, or simultaneously. Tonight, the push by the White House is to get Build Back Better Act done by May. But if it doesn't get done by May, then what? well, then the Democrats are out because no one's going to keep them in position if they, as the party in control, did not get that economic relief out. Now, the Republicans are not proposing anything alternative. I got to make very clear to you. They're betting on people blaming the U.S. economy on the Joseph Biden and riding into the White House, or to Congress. But guess what? I wouldn't bet the farm on that one because Americans are in need of big relief right now. And unless they see it coming from someone, they're going to vote them out one way or the other. The great news across the board is that there's a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. And late in this recording, I will go over that forced stimulus check that is in your state. How do you get it? Where do you get it? How do you get the application on file? Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. And step 3, get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that has those incredible checks in there. What's important to understand is that there's a lot of money in every U.S. state for you tonight. The forced stimulus check in every U.S. state tonight is not $600 or $1,200 or $800. It's $6,000 to $12,500. It's $45,000 to $80,000, and then it's about $2,000 a month over 12 months, upwards of $200,000. These are monstrous checks, and the great news is that I have taken the time and effort to get it all to you. You're not going to find this place anywhere in the landscape of American broadcasting tonight. American broadcasting tonight, when you're looking at financial news, they're talking about Tesla and Elon Musk. They're talking about Ford stock or Apple shares. They're not talking about your wallet in the way that I am. In every recording you see on this channel, Lalate, you're not going to see anywhere else. You're not going to see these checks covered, one, because broadcast media never covers these subject matters. They never did and they never will. Number two, you're not going to see the breadth of this recording or this accuracy of these details anywhere else because a lot of research goes into it, and the research is updated daily, hourly, as new data comes in. Number three, no one anywhere else in the United States is going to do what you get from this channel. What is that? A membership newsletter. A membership newsletter delivered to you Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that has in there everything you need to do. It's like I'm giving you a manual for where to get money. That in a way, a manual newsletter has everything in there that all you do is open it and do exactly what it says. If you can read, if you can use your fingers, and if you can use your voice, you are going to clean up. I have such incredible confidence in you and all the other people who have cleaned up so royally in these forced stimulus checks. So how do you get them? They're coming up after the commercial break. But first, become a member during the commercial break. Subscribe. And then go to the Finance channel and hit that little bell and turn the notifications to all. Fastest growing membership on the planet. Biggest, #1 most watched show for financial news in prime time. You're watching it right now. Evenings Lalate. And most comprehensive analysis. And I got to tell you, most 100% correct analysis. Predicting where this economy is going, predicting where the economy is on the tracks and off the tracks, and predicting what your value of the dollar is going to be worth, not just this week, not just this month, but this year. It's all coming up in the second half. So get that incredible membership signed up, and I will be back with you in 60 seconds. As a big night of Evenings LA continues from the shores of Santa Monica, California. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as Evenings LA continues.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. LA8 returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA8 at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA8.
And the excitement continues right now in the big second half of LA tonight for May 14th, 2022 from the shores of Santa Monica, California. How are you? Tonight, we go into these incredible checks. A four-stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state. Yes, it's yours. Yes, you got to do something to get it. And yes, this is huge sums of money. These aren't like the first or second or third. These are monster sums of money. In some cases, the checks could pay your way for 2 to 3 years out. These are $80,000 checks. Available in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can get it. And if you're on benefits, you can get it as well. Available in every U.S. state. Step 1, become a member. Step 2, get that newsletter in front of you. And Step 3, get ready to pounce. And with that, let's go into the incredible details tonight on a big second half of Evenings LA from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Good evening, and hope you are good across the board. When we look at these four stimulus checks tonight, what's important to know is that they're in every U.S. state. Remember, a four stimulus check is landed in every U.S. state and it is available for you. If you qualify for the first, second, or third, you qualify for this one. Moreover, the check is everywhere. First, let's go over the details across the board. The President of the United States got these four stimulus checks out to you in every U.S. state quietly, quickly, without the act of Congress, and they have landed by executive action. This is something you always dreamed about, something we talked a lot about 2 years ago. These four stimulus checks landing in every U.S. state by executive action. For purposes of this channel, I've numbered them. They are Check A, Check B, and Check C. There is also a Check D, but it's not in every U.S. state. But let's go over all these incredible checks one at a time and go over how you get these huge checks. I'm so excited for you. Let's go over each of these incredible checks starting right now. Check A is a four stimulus check in every U.S. state. And how do you get this incredible Check A and what is it? Let's go over the details. Step 1. Check A is a $6,500 to $12,000 check. Hold up. Look at that enormous amount of money. A $6,500 to $12,000 stimulus check? Yes, you heard LA right. That is the massive payout. It's a four stimulus check. It's in every U.S. state. And it is the same income qualification as a third stimulus check. How do you get Check A? Very easy. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a paid member. That newsletter is then delivered to you Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Go right in the newsletter and go down to Check A, and there it is, the details of it and how to apply. Click the link and you go right in and apply and get that homeowner's weatherizing grant check. Then get ready for Check B. Check B is $15,000 to $80,000 for a stimulus check. Look at that massive payday. An $80,000 for a stimulus check. Folks, that ain't $800. That is not a typo. That is not $8,000. That is $80,000. I've had viewers get $66,000. I have viewers get $66,000 to $80,000. It's the homeowner's grant check. And yes, this is for people on SSI and SSDI who have gotten these checks from my recordings as well. How do you get that Check B? Same way as Check A, almost. Become a member, go into the newsletter, go down to Check B, and then it describes to you Check B, and you click the link and apply. Check A and B are so simple because all you have to do is go into a newsletter, go down to it, click the link, and put your name in and information, phone number, and apply. And there you go. If you qualify, you get paid within about a week. Imagine how simple I've made it for you. Check C is equally simple. How do you get Check C and what is it? It is for renters and also for homeowners. $2,000 a month approximately is what it's rounding at, but upwards of $120,000. And how do you get this Check C and what is it? It's rent, utilities, mortgages, and more. You go into that membership newsletter, you go down to Check C, and there I tell you, where do you call? Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. And the 6 or 7 other nonprofits. And then you call. In the case of Check C, you're actually calling to get the incredible check. And that check lands by direct deposit, as is B and A, but in this case, on a monthly basis. Whoa, that is incredible. Check A is in every U.S. state. Check C is in every U.S. state, and Check B is in every U.S. state. When we turn to check D, it is not in every U.S. state, but it's an additional check. About 24 states have it, and more will be having it thereafter. It is the residue of third stimulus, states having leftover money and now spending the money, use it or lose it. And that also is featured in the membership newsletter. What's going on in your respective state? You go into the membership newsletter, and it's all in there. A, B, C, and D. Nowhere in the history of broadcast has anything ever like Lalate existed. Number one, there's never been a financial news channel that helps get its viewers money like I do. Millions and tens of millions of dollars got into viewers every year because of my efforts, because of my research, because of my preparing the data for you and saying, here is the money, go get it. All I'm leaving you left to do is push a series of buttons, make a few phone calls, and you go do exactly what I say, and you get the money. Number one. Number two, nowhere in the scope of broadcasting media today in the last year has anyone gotten predictions of this economy so correct as this channel. I predicted the 8% inflation last year. I said if Vladimir Putin invades Ukraine in 2022, said this on Halloween, then expect that to be the biggest economic story of 2022. And I said it that if China goes on lockdown, stays there, expect that to be the major story of 2022 after Putin. It has been. China's coming off a lockdown. About 2 weeks from now, it'll be out of lockdown. And with that, we're going to see this sort of split. Number one, we're going to see price of consumer goods come down because now their factories in China can produce more. They'll be reopened. Can ship more. The shipping will be reopened. But what's going to go up while consumer goods will go down? Gasoline. Because they're getting back in their cars, they're driving. They'll be consuming more gasoline available internationally. More shortages, and that's how things rock and roll. So that's what's happening with China. Step two, when we talk about Putin, Putin was not supposed to be a 3-month story. Some people thought. I said it was. It may be a 3-year story. And what's happening with Putin, whether Mitch McConnell and a bipartisan delegation visits Ukraine or not, is that Putin is still causing economic disruption here at home. And no one has a tool to fix that. That is supply chain disruption 2.0, like the wheat and grain harvested normally in Ukraine are no longer available. That supply chain disruptions continue to erode this U.S. economy. So what's at issue is that the Biden administration needs to address all these economic issues, and it hasn't. Mitch McConnell and that bipartisan leadership going to Ukraine to pledge millions of dollars to Ukraine. But back in the United States, you got to wonder if some Republicans are looking at Mitch McConnell saying, Mitch, where's the money for my business? Or Democrats looking to Bernie Sanders saying, Bernie, where is my dental, vision, and hearing? A lot of money is being spent, but not a lot of money on you by Congress. Thank goodness for this channel. Thank goodness for this family. A fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state, and what's important to understand is the sort of mindset about this. People have been sort of inoculated over the last 2 years to understand that money usually comes from Congress. In this case, it's not coming from Congress. It's coming from the president. It's coming from the states. And what I'm doing is I'm delivering the details of that money for you. Number two, if you're new to this channel, make sure you understand what goes on here. Is that since day one, I'm the one that covers this type of information, and no one else does. I've seen this since day one. Day one, the reason why this channel succeeded was no one's covering EIDL or EIDL grants or loans in broadcast media. They weren't. No one even knew it existed. No one even knew there was a problem. No one even covered FPUC broadly for the first few months. Then they started to pick up. No one really covered PPP that much at all. So I covered the subjects that other people weren't covering. Tonight, think in your mind, how many times have you heard a local news channel tell you that a forced stimulus check is in your state? Probably never. They don't care to cover it. It's not on the subject matter. Moreover, they don't do the scope of research you see here. You are very lucky. We are very lucky as a family. Because what have I done? I've taken hours and hours of research every single day for year after year, combined it and reduced it to a concise newsletter that is updated daily, Monday through Friday. When new checks announced, it's updated. When Brent crude changes, corn or wheat is changed, it's updated. And in there, I get everything into a concise form for you to click, apply, and get money. First stimulus was about doing that. You had to do that for EIDL, PPP, PUA, and FPUC. Second stimulus was the same way as well. What's important for you to understand is this is the landscape right tonight. This is money for you right tonight. This is money available for you right tonight. The money is available on the table in front of you, and the situation out to sea, not good. Not good. The situation out to sea tonight is that there's a major storm, and it's called recession. You can sit back and talk about the $25,000 of money in that first add-on for the purchase of your first home in the Build Back Better Act. The second add-on in the Build Back Better Act of $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. The MSCs proposed to go into Build Back Better Act. You can talk about the free internet and the seniors and the dental and the vision in the third cluster. You can talk about the paid leave in the second cluster of Build Back Better Act. You can talk about the hazard pay in the first cluster of Build Back Better Act for my essential workers, the $3,600 for the children, the $12,500 for the new electric vehicle, the $4,000 of elder care. You can talk about it, but let's make it very clear. Those checks are not available tonight, are not available today, were not available yesterday, and are not available tomorrow. What is available? These check A's, these check B's, these check C's that are astronomical bigger numbers than we have ever seen in the history of this channel. A, B, and C are available right tonight. And what you need to do is get them and not wait across the board. Student loan debt forgiveness has gotten lots of additional money relief. I don't want to say it's a check, although it feels like a check, because the President of the United States has forgiven a lot of student loan debt loans in the last 30 days. Step one. The President forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation. If you went to work in the nonprofit or public sector, your debts have now been forgiven as well. If your debts were procured by fraud by the university against you, your debts have been forgiven as well. If your debts were in default, they've been put in good standing. And if your debts were due in the month of May, they're being rolled over to September. The President will not do $50,000 of complete student loan debt forgiveness, he says now. But $10,000 is what many, including myself, believe the President will do thereafter. Fifth stimulus, people asking about that today about as well. Fifth stimulus is that reform for the benefits. Not yet happening, but the SS300 could happen overnight. That's why you should take this video. Tag the President, hashtag Purple Power, hashtag Joe Make the Call. Hashtag Joe Make the Call, hashtag Purple Power. Tag the President, tag Lalate, and say Joe Make the Phone Call. Swap that COLA for inflation right tonight. No excuses. It's just a simple phone call. Why is a simple phone call taking 6 months to get done? Makes no sense across the board. Now, if Joe made that phone call, you get $200 more per month. That would make a big difference for a lot of people. It's been 6 months that money could have been in your wallet. That would be $1,200 by the time of tonight's recording. Had Joe made that swap in December last year, you would have locked in 8% then. You would have been getting $200 more per month in January, February, March, April, May. So you've lost those months. That's why you can't wait a second. Take this video and push Purple Power. Push on social media. Share this video. Tag your elected officials. And tag Joe Biden and Liz Warren. Hashtag Joe Make the Call. Swap that COLA for inflation and give us what you promised at joebiden.com. And you can go see it yourself. And you can also screen grab it and send it right back to him across the board. 7 stimulus, student loan debt forgiveness. Fifth stimulus we went over for my beneficiaries. What about 6th stimulus? This is the one where you sort of sit back and you say, told you so. Told you so. What is this one about? It's about the oil. It's about the wheat. It's about Putin. I told you back in March when Putin invaded Ukraine that if the Western allies do not get this done, we're going into recession. Or at least one of the Western allied countries will go into recession and bring us all into recession. Yeah, Mitch McConnell was in Ukraine, dedicating billions of dollars to Ukraine. But Mitch McConnell's done nothing for the wheat, the corn, the oil industry, for the Western allies, nor the Democrats, nor the Republicans. Guess what? As Deutsche Bank recently said about Germany, you don't get off of that Russian oil, you don't get stimulus for your citizens, you're going to recession, Germany. This is German bank saying to Germany, you're going to recession. When you look at the price of items in other countries, you think it's bad here? Guess what? How about Great Britain? Its central bank says that it's raising interest rates in the in Great Britain to battle inflation, and they say inflation is going to, you're ready for this one, 10% by December. Oh my goodness. 10% inflation and also higher interest rates. What is that called? That is what we may be getting as well. Stagflation. Stagflation. It's very, very troubling. Stagflation is nothing you've seen of a generation. It is the combination of recession plus higher interest rates. If you sit outside, if you go online, if you listen to a YouTube video, no one under the age of 50 has really experienced a recession in this U.S. economy. So they're out talking or walking or recording about recession. They never experienced it. You have to be at least about 45 years or older to have worked or been educated or coming out of college in the midst of a recession to know what it's like. And guess what? No one, I think, under the age of 70 has seen stagflation before. So none of those people you see on broadcast media talking about this, or people writing about this, or people making a video about this have lived it unless they're of a certain age. And if you haven't lived it, well, let me tell you what recession looks like. Recession looks horrible. It basically means negative growth. Where does it start? It starts basically in April of this year. We, at that time, were supposed to have 7% inflation, 7% growth of our economy. We came in at 6.9%. If the projections are correct, we're going to 0% by the end of the year. Wall Street insiders say 4%. White House says 3.7%. I say 0 down to negative. What's a negative number for GDP? Gross national product, how much the U.S. economy is growing. A negative number means you're shrinking. If you're shrinking, what happens? It means businesses are making less money. If businesses are making less money, guess what happens? In a recession, when businesses start to feel the impact of a recession, they stop hiring. They do what's called a hiring freeze. You will see hiring freezes in your public sector first, then hiring freezes in your private sector first. They'll actually put out notices saying, we're not hiring anyone. And then come the L words. Yes, layoffs. They start to lay off people because suddenly they realize they're not making the type of money they were making before. They can't afford the current situation. You heard a little bit about this from Uber. They did not lay off people, but they said, we got to have more productivity and we need to cut our costs. Productivity was way down, said the Department of Labor 2 weeks ago, among existing employees. Imagine, you got a job now. You think that it costs a lot of money to buy the gasoline and the bread now with that job. Imagine if you lose the job and then you have a shrinking GDP and you still have gasoline going higher. Let's say that again slower so you digest how serious a recession is. You have a job now. The price of gasoline, the price of bread, it's all too darn expensive. Then suddenly you lose the job and you still have to pay for the price of all those expensive items. Ouch. Then you start to look for a job to replace the job you lost. You can't find it. Meantime, your rent is going up. Meantime, your mortgage rates are going up. Flexible mortgage rates. Jay Powell raising interest rates. Your credit card debt going up. Look bad. It's really bad. If you've never experienced a recession before, folks, it is very bad. That is why the mindset of you and I is on point. My job is to give you a lot of information on a 1 hour broadcast. That is why this is the #1 show for financial news in prime time. It starts with understanding 1, where this economy is right now. 2, understanding where it's going. And I don't mean 1 week out projections. I've been giving you projections out 6 months. Back in February, I said we're going to recession for 2 years starting next January. I told you 2 industries are already in recession, auto and housing. Number 3, I also told you the latest important thing is to save. And finally, I told you the most important thing is to grab checks. Grab lots of checks. Last night, a longtime viewer of this channel, her name is Nisi, celebrated her birthday. She was in the live chat. And in celebrating her birthday in the live chat, it reminded us of why listening is so important. Here's Nisi. She's under the overlay graphic that says evenings at $20,000 of rent. This was the middle of last year. In combo items at the time, she was at $23,000. Earlier this year, she got another $8,000. A few weeks ago, she got another $8,000. Last night, she revealed she got about another $10,000. Yeah, Nisi keeps on going back and getting money. Every week, she's getting more money. She's upwards of about $60,000 approximately. I'm losing track. Why is this so important? She's not a member. She's just someone who listens really well. She listens to the videos, she takes notes, and she does exactly what I say. And that is why all of you have the capability of doing this. And finally, I'm going to end with some tough love. The tough love is, I love Anisi, but I don't like what I'm also seeing. There's some people that are wasting their time on silly things, and you got to move on or move away. Silly things, number one. Someone saying, is there a forced stimulus check in Ohio? There's a forced stimulus check in every state. Is there a forced stimulus check in Michigan? I just said there was a forced stimulus check in every state. Is there a forced stimulus check? Can you stop it? This is silliness. I shouldn't have to be doing this. I shouldn't have to be repeating myself, and I'm not going to anymore. I already said it's in every U.S. state. You have to repeat your state back to me 5 more times. I don't want to hear it. I already said it's in every U.S. state. Number 2, people who don't want to read, I can't help you. I can't help you if you don't want to read, and this is for members. I had one member last night in the Evenings LA video who said, New Jersey doesn't care. New Jersey's not giving any money. New Jersey has no forced stimulus check. I said, you're a member. There's a check A, there's a check B, there's a check C in New Jersey. You're a member. You should know this. This is in the membership newsletter. Why are you saying that? The viewer said, oh, yeah, there is. So why did you say that? Because there's no check D in New Jersey. Now, let's just pause for a second. At that point, that's sort of egregious. The viewer understands there's an A, B, and C in their state, New Jersey, understands that it's a lot of money, understands they qualify for the money, understands upwards of $80,000, and said there was no money. There is money. Why did you say there's no money? Moreover, the viewer said, I'm looking then, here was what the viewer said in backup, I'm looking for a check D in New Jersey, and there is none. Looking? It's in the membership newsletter. It's in the membership newsletter. It's in the membership newsletter. Why do I spend hours researching daily and writing if you don't read? In the membership newsletter reveals there's a check D for New Jersey residents. What's important to understand is we're moving on. We're going forward. We're moving on. We're going to get new checks. We're going to check E and F and G. We're moving on. You need to get these check A, B, and C. I'm not going to keep on repeating it. I'm not going to keep on repeating obvious stuff. This is where we're going in backwards, and I'm not going backwards. I'm moving forward. Viewers of this channel have gotten A, B, and C. They've gotten their application on file. They've graduated from LA 101, LA 202, LA 304, and LA 404. If you don't want to put your applications in, fine. You want to talk about something that hasn't happened, fine. You want to talk about something that's not a reality, fine. You ain't going to talk about it here. We're moving on. We're going to more checks. My job is to keep on getting people more money, more money, more money. If you want to be left behind, you can be left behind. The importance is my viewers are smart, and I know you're smart as well. Don't play games. Go get the checks. Then get ready because we're getting more checks. We're going from these checks, and we're going to the next checks. It's sort of like a pub crawl for stimulus. Who has the duels of the next round? Who has the stimulus of the next round? I got the next round of stimulus. I got the next round of stimulus. I don't know where that came from. But it's like pub crawl for stimulus. We're going on to the next establishment to get some more stimulus. So if you want to stay back at that last establishment and say, what day do you have the onion rings? Sir, we're not here for onion rings. We're doing a pub crawl for stimulus. Get on the bus, get on point, get with the message, get with the money, get the membership signed up, get the newsletter, get the money right now, and you are going to be the next Nisi. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of all of you. You've done such an incredible job from SSI, SSDI, Veterans Benefits. All of you have done such a great job. And along the way, there's some people that simply maybe got stuck off the bus during the stimulus pub crawl. But get back on the bus because we're going to the next stop. We're going to get some more money, and that's where we're going. You can do this. You have the abilities. You know it. It's all in the membership newsletter. If you can read, you can learn. If you can listen, you can learn. If you can call, you can pounce. And if you can push, you can get paid. It's as simple as that. It's nightly. It's evenings LA at 5 o'clock. Evenings countdown at 6 o'clock. Street and stimulus at 7. Evenings extra at 8. And sunset at 9 o'clock. A forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. And how do you get it? You go to the top of the chat and become a member. Then subscribe. Also, hit that bell and that alert and get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, good evening. God bless. Stay informed, stay focused. I'll see you throughout the night. and stay with LA for more.